Olá, uma boa tarde de sábado para vocês. Hello, sorry. A good afternoon from Saturday. I love all days of week. I write the test for you. This week there was an image of a peasant who had land disappear in reunion with Dr. Bezerra de Menezes. Appeared this week was an image of a peasant who had land all dry and cracked, and now it is soft and bearing fruit with the seeds thrown. I thank God for everyone He allows to come to me, because let me turn better this camp awful, and thank God for everyone He allows to come to me, because it's true then that I have been driving to search for answers. We must listen to people, because sometimes they come through God, and if we know how to take advantage of their presence and His sort of God's wisdom, we will see that at least we will enjoy the conversation if we submit it to the wisdom that comes from God. In fact, a conversation or a relationship will only be unproductive if we don't see in ourselves what we need to learn, what we need to relearn, and what we need change inside us. So today I'm going to talk about the law of destruction in light of everything that's happening here, where I am, where I live, and elsewhere. I hope to help with something that I was led to research and read and review and learning and relearning what in the past I failed to see with the depth that I can feel today. Necessary destruction and abusive destruction. It from chapter 4, chapter 6, a destruction law of Spirit's book. I have one so little, so small, and the law, chapter 6, well, Necessary Destruction, chapter 6 from the Spirit's book by Allan Kardec, and Law of Destruction. The necessary destruction and absolute destruction in all items. Question 7 to 8. Is destruction a law of nature? It's necessary for everything to be destroyed in order to be reborn and regenerated. What you call destruction is no more than transformation that is aimed at renewing and improving living beings. See how Deepak Chopra say, all that we are seeing, it's an illusion. In reality, it's an illusion. Or real, it's the life, spiritual life. But we can destroy the body for this. Don't can. Has the destruction instinct been given to living beings for providential purpose? God's creators are creators of God, creatures of God. That God uses are the instruments that God uses for attaining the divine ends. In order to feed themselves, living beings destroy each other with the dual purpose of maintaining the balance of reproduction, which might otherwise become excessive, and utilizing the remains of the external envelopes and utilizing the remains of their external envelopes. But it's only the envelope that is destroyed. It's only envelope that is destroyed. The envelope is only an accessory and not an essential part of the thinking being. The essential part is in the indestructible intelligent principle, which is developed through the various metamorphoses that it undergoes. All we see and all we don't see are in constant evolution. Ask a question 7 to 9. Remember, this question was made from scientist Allan Kardec, disciple of a great other scientist, Pestalozzi. In those epochs, Kardec was his disciple, and the answers Kardec only accepted after verificate if various good mediums in word, not only in France, but in a word, because he had a spirit magazine, and all people in word have access to this, and meet Kardec to explain doubts, what happened with these mediums in our world. Then Kardec had a great number of good mediums in word, and asked the same question for all of them at the same time, and they turned back to him, and he analyzed, and only answers was the same from various mediums in a word that don't have communication each other, only with Kardec. Only this Kardec, and with logic dots, right, and accept how the truth. And obviously he only showed this high spirits in those observe when Kardec was with a wrong dot, and show it to him. Well, it was a great work and a long work, and with so much responsible of high level spirits, and Kardec house scientist. Other spirit was before Kardec was claimed to make the same work, but he failed. Was Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. He was it was him to conclaim it, made this work, but he failed, he fall in his mission. Then other appear. It's ever this way. When one fall, have other to substitute this. Then 7 to 9 question. If destruction is necessary for the regeneration of beings, why does nature surround them with the means of self-preservation and conservation? Answer: to prevent their destruction before the proper time. Any destruction that occurs too soon retards the development of the intelligent principle. That is why God has given to each being the need to stay alive, reproduce. Let me see in Portuguese, I think. It's so logical. Since question 730, Since that should lead us to a better life and deliver us from tell ills of this world and sound, and should therefore be desired instead of dreaded, why do humans have an instinctive horror of it and see it as a cause for apprehension? Dreaded instead of dreaded. We have already stated that humans should seek to prolong their life in order to accomplish their task. That is why God has given them the self-preservation instinct. It sustains them in all their trials. Without it, they would frequently give into discouragement. The secret voice that tells them to avoid that also tells them they may yet do something more for their progress. Whenever danger threatens them, it is a warning to them that they must take advantage of the time God has granted them. It is a warning to them that they must take advantage of the time God has granted to them. But in grades, usually give thanks to their lucky star instead of their creator. This is real. Why ask 7:3:1? Why has nature placed the agents of destruction side by side with the means of self-preservation? The remedy beside the illness. Let me see this. The remedy beside the illness. We already have told you the Spirit's answer. We already have told you, in order to maintain balance and to serve us a counterweight, Ask 7:3:2. It's the need for destruction, the same on all words. It's in proportion to how material each particular word is. It disappears. Read this. It disappears altogether in a pure physical and moral state. It disappears. One day, on words more evolved than yours, the conditions of existence are altogether different. It's because this that I said other day to scientists of heaven, of sky. I don't know said this in English. The scientists had sky and stars and planets, etc. I said, it don't resolve to search life in planets, other planets. We can see this with these eyes. Have life in all planets, but not with these eyes we can see this. Maybe in other planets, maybe. But in all planets, no. It's different. The existence are altogether different. Ask 733. Will the need for destruction always exist for humankind on the earth? The need for destruction diminishes among humans to the degree that their spirit overcomes matter. That is why you may observe that the order of destruction follows upon intellectual and moral development. Ask 734. In their present state, do humans have an unlimited right of destruction in regard to animals? I love this question. In their present state, do humans have an unlimited right of destruction in regard to animals? That right is limited to the need of providing for their food and safety. Only for this. Abuse has never been a right. Never been a right. The abuse. 735 question. What about destruction that exceeds the limits of need and safety? Hunting, for instance, when it has no other objective than the pleasure of destroying needlessly. It's a predominance of the animal nature over the spiritual nature, of course. But so bad, I say now, it's so bad for human. It's so ugly in human. All destruction that exceeds the limits of need is a violation of God's law. Animals only destroy to satisfy their needs. Observe the nature. We must observe the nature. Animals only destroy to satisfy their needs. But humans who have free will, and I say, and this will asked by God to us, who have free will. But humans who have free will destroy without need. It's the point. They will be called to account for abusing the freedom granted to them because it's in such cases they yield to evil instincts. Because in such cases they yield to evil instincts. They yelled. Wait a moment. It's important to pronounce for you, I know. Let me copy one thing. Yelled.
Yield.
No. English.
Yield.
Yield. Okay. Yield to evil instincts. Continue. Ask question 736. Do those cultures that carry their scrupulousness to excess regarding the destruction of animals have any special merit? Do those cultures that carry their scrupulousness to excess regarding the excess regarding to destruction of animals have any special merit? Such excess is a sentiment that in itself is praiseworthy, but it becomes abusive and its merit is neutralized by other kinds of abuse. They act more out of superstitions, fear, than true humanities. I repeat, they act more out of superstitions, fear, than true humanities. Humaneness. Let me see Portuguese. Then all excess, it's imbalance. We must think about this. The extractive calamities. Other point, destructive calamities. Ask 737. For what purpose does God inflict humankind with destructive calamities? To impel them to progress more quickly. Haven't we stated that destruction is necessary for the moral regeneration of spirits who accomplish a new degree of perfection during each new existence? It's a question how to answer. To impel them progress. Haven't we stated that destruction is necessary for the moral regeneration of spirits who accomplish a new degree of perfection during each new existence? You must see the end in order to appreciate the results. You must see the end in order to appreciate the results. You only judge such things from your own personal point of view, and you regard such afflictions as calamities because of the injury they cause you. However, these hardships are often necessary in order to make things arrive at a better order more quickly, and to accomplish in a few years what would otherwise require many centuries. However, these hardships are often necessary in order to make things arrive at a better order more quickly, and to accomplish in a few years what would otherwise require many centuries. See number 744. After 738. Couldn't God employ other methods instead of destructive calamities for improving humankind? Yes, and they are employed every day through the knowledge of good and evil. God has given to each of you the means of progressing. However, humans don't take advantage of them. We don't see how people don't want to hear or read about truth. This is all logic and true. And how people have here now zero viewers. I know more late the maximum 10 or 11 will see the maximum, and it's the crystalline truth. Couldn't God employ, the same question, couldn't God employ other methods instead of destructing calamities for improving humankind? Yes, and they are employed every day. Through the knowledge of good and evil, good has given to each of you the means of progressing. However, humans don't take advantage of them. Thus, it's necessary to afflict them in their pride and make them feel their own weakness. But the moral person succumbs to these calamities along with the wicked. Is this just? Throughout life, humans relate everything to their body, but after that they think differently. I repeat again the read. Throughout life, humans relate everything to their body, but after that they think differently. As we have already stated, the life of the body is almost nothing. How Deepak Chopra said, it's an illusion, it's just an illusion. Ooh, ooh, ah. I don't think so. A century in your word is but a flash, in eternity. I'm so glad, I'm so happy to learn this. Oh, it was for me how the first time ever when I read it's for me, God, how the first time I love deeply my God, I love. As we have already stated, the life of the body is almost nothing. A century in your word is but a flash in eternity. The suffering that lasts a few of your months or days are nothing, and are only a lesson that will serve you in the future. The spirits who have resisted and have survived everything else comprise the real world. See number 85 of this book. They are the children of God and the objects of the divine kindness. Bodies are no more than disguises behind which they make their appearance in the world. Bodies are no more than disguises behind which they make their appearance in the word. Let me see the pronounce of this word.
disguises.
I said right. I'm happy when I said right. They are the children of God and the objects of the divine kindness. Bodies are no more than disguises behind which they make their appearance in the world. And the great calamities that decimate humankind, moral persons who succumb are like an army that decimate humankind, moral persons who succumb are like an army which during war sees that its uniforms have become tattered, worn out or lost. The general is more concerned for his soldiers than their uniforms. Let me see one thing. This response is so long. Yes, the general the general is more concerned for his soldiers than the uniforms. But are the victims of these calamities actual victims nonetheless? Are the victims of these calamities actual victims nonetheless? If we consider life as it's in itself and how insignificant it is in comparison with the infinite, the less importance we would attach to it. The less importance we would attach to it. It's another life. Those victims will find ample compensation for their sufferings if they endure them without complaining. Let me close, because now the people will sing your hymns. But aren't the victims of the calamities at all victims nonetheless? I read. If we consider life as it's in itself, and how insignificant it's in comparison with the infinite, the less importance we will attach to it. In another life, those victims will find ample compensation for their sufferings if they endure them without complaining. A bit note: whether that results from a calamity on an ordinary cause, we cannot escape it when the hour for our departure has come. The only difference is that in the former case, a greater number depart at the same time. If we could elevate ourselves through thought so as to encompass all humankind in a single glance, these terrible calamities would seem no more than passing storms in the destiny of the world. S739. Are destructive calamities useful from a physical point of view, notwithstanding the hardships they cause? Yes, they sometimes modify the conditions of a region, but the good that results from them is usually only felt by future generations. Question 740. Repair. More after. You will read that only God had permission to permit destruction, because only God knows what it's and where it's necessary, not we humans. We ever will be responsible to retire the life of other animals. If I only make this how abuse, and people in all cases, we will respond in front of love God, eternal love God. We will respond this. Couldn't calamities also be moral trials for humankind by exposing humans to the most afflicted needs? No, 739 before. Are destructive calamities useful from a physical point of view, notwithstanding the hardships they cause? Yes, they sometimes modify the conditions of a region, but the good that results from them is usually only felt by future generations. How is the world after 42 war, after Hiroshima? Nevermore we heard atomic attacks. Not how Hiroshima. Question 740. Couldn't calamities also be moral trials for humankind by exposing humans to the most afflicted needs? Calamities are trials that furnish humans with an opportunity to exert their intelligence and to demonstrate their patience and resignation before the will of God. At the same time, calamities enable them to develop the sentiments of self-denial, self-detachment, and love for their neighbor, if they aren't dominated by selfishness. Okay. May we avert the calamities that afflict us? Yes, in part, but not as is generally supposed. Many calamities are the consequence of your own providence. As you acquire knowledge and experience, you become able to avert them. That is, to prevent them if you know how to study their case. Among the ills that afflict humankind, however, there are those of a general nature that belong to designs of providence, and from which all individuals receive in a greater or lesser proportion the share for which they are responsible. They can do nothing about this except to resign themselves to God's will. But even these ills are usually aggravated by human carelessness. Among the destructive calamities that are natural and independent of human actions, we find plagues, famine, floods, and the inclement weather conditions that are fatal to the productions of the earth. But in science, in works of art, in improvements of agriculture and crop rotation and irrigation, and in the study of hygienic conditions, has not humankind found the means to neutralize or at least mitigate such disasters? Are in certain regions that were formerly devastated by terrible calamities protected nowadays? Therefore, what will humankind not accomplish for their material well-being when they know how to make use of all the resources of their intelligence and when caring for their own self-preservation? They know how to ally it with the sentiment of true charity for their fellow beings. See number 707. This is a note of Kardec. When he noted, it's a little word. And then it's from year 1860. 1856, I think, more or less. 1856 or 1860. It's all so much actual. War. 7 or other point. War. 742. What is the cause that leads humankind to war? The predominance of the animal nature over the spiritual, and the satisfaction of their passions. In the state of barbarity, nations only know the right of the strongest, and that is why war is a normal state for them. In the state of barbarity, nations only know the right of the strongest, and that is why war is a normal state for them. As humans evolve, war will become less frequent since they will avoid its cause, and when it does become necessary, they will know how to make it more humane. As humans evolve, war will become less frequent since they will avoid its cause. As humans evolve, and when it does become necessary, they will know how to make it more humane. Will war someday disappear from the earth? It's the question. Yes, when men and women understand justice and practice God's law. Then all nations will live as brothers and sisters. It was question 743, now 744. What has been the goal of providence in making war necessary? Freedom and progress. Providence permit this for freedom and progress, because humans sometimes only understand in this level we suffer. If war is meant to bring freedom, why is it that it has usually had subjugation as its objective and result? Temporary subjugation enables cultures to evolve more quickly. See the Moses in Egypt. 745 question. What is to be thought about those who stir up war for their own gain? They are truly guilty. They are truly guilty, and will require many lives to expiate all the murders they have caused. My God. They are truly guilty, and will require many lives to expiate all the murders that they have caused. It was I said now, and before this question, another question before that. It will require many lives to expiate all the murders they have caused, for they will have to answer for every individual whose death they caused to satisfy their ambition. Never escape from the God's law. Never. Never. Neither. Nothing. Nothing escape for the God's law. Don't forget this. Still you don't believe, thinking about murder. It's other point. Question 746. Is murder a crime in God's sight? Yes, a great crime. Because those who take the life of another fellow being thereby cut short a life of expiation or mission, hence the evil. Let me see this. This is a bit law of death in human prison. A bit this. Yes, is murder a crime in God's sight? Yes. a great crime because those who take the life of another fellow being, there will be cut short alive. Of expiation is the cause of law of death in earth. Expiation, cut short a life of expiation or mission, hence the evil. We don't have the right of retire of other the life and cut his expiation or mission. We don't can make this. Question 747. Is there always the same degree of culpability in murder? We have already said. God is just. God judges the intent rather than the deed. I don't know if that of did, I think did.
Deed.
Yes. Hence the evil. There we.
Thereby.
Thereby. I said wrong. We have thereby another fellow being thereby cut short a life of expiation or mission, as the evil. Yes, a great, is murder a crime in God's sight? Yes, a great crime, because those who take the life of another, it's other word that I don't know, thereby. Thereby, this tomorrow, thereby.
Fellow.
I said right. Yes, a great crime, because those who take the life of another fellow being thereby cut short a life of expiation or mission, has the evil. Is there always the same degree of culpability in murder? We have already said, God is just. God judges the intent rather than the deed. Does God excuse 748? Does God excuse murder in case of legitimate defense? Only necessity can excuse it. But if we can save our life without having to take the life of the aggressor, we must do so. It's important, read again this, because one time, see how we must go back to what other people say without know really. Because here in Brazil, I heard one time, no, you can murder in any case. And don't, is it what the spirit are talking? Then response, does God excuse murder in case of legitimate defense? And people and police don't can work? No, in this world, we need police, we need militaries. It's important and necessary, so necessary in this world. Does God excuse murder in case of legitimate defense? Only necessity can excuse it. I repeat, only necessity can excuse it. Is the case of policial, is the case of militaries, and you when don't have way to evade this. Don't have way to save your life with a bad people with a gun in front of you, what you will make? Or a sick man or a sick woman. You must to defend you. If we can save our life without having to take the life of the aggressor, you must do so. Only if we can save our life. All necessity can excuse it. Nevermore I will forget it. Another time I heard of people that read this talk to me that I must dead. Still I can defend my life? No. Only necessity can excuse it, For this, Bolsonaro is right. When he left people, advocates people necessity to have a gun. Not all population don't have money to buy a gun. It's so expensive here in Brazil. And Bolsonaro had give permission to people that work with dangerous people have a gun. And before this, they must made a course, made training to use not all people, but you must prove that you have necessity to walk with a gun. Another day I said a video that I cried to laugh, cause appear a teenager with a gun back on the bad man that want to get your chicken, and your grandmother was cold. Get here! Get here! Cause people in isolated local, 2 women alone, she must have a gun. Yes, she must need this. It's so a meme. It's a meme in Brazil, this video. But it's right. It's right. Oh, for God, I read this. For God. Does God excuse murder in case of legitimate defense? Only necessity can excuse it. But if we can save our life without having to take the life of the aggressor, we must do so. The bad man run so fast. It's good. All people, they are isolated of police post, of help him or her, must have a gun, of course, because bad people go there and get what he can and can make what he want with 2 women alone in middle of forest. Bolsonaro is right. God say this. Only necessity can excuse it. But if we can save our life without having to take the life of the aggressor, we must do so. The next response will clarity this. Will turn clarity. Are persons culpable for the murders they commit in war? Interesting question. 749. Are persons culpable for the murders they commit in war? Not if they are coerced through force. Not if they are coerced through force. How this answer is important for the psychological soldiers in bad things. Say me. Not. Soldiers are not culpable. Not if they are coerced through force. Nonetheless, they are responsible for the cruelties they commit. See how logic and balance it's those answers. See and heard with heart and deeply. Not if they are coerced through force. In those violent humanity, it's so important, these questions. And was made in year 1855. More or less, enter 1855 and 1860. Are the person capable for the let me see the pronouns. Culpable. Are persons culpable for the murders they commit in war? Culpable? No, if they are coerced through force. Nonetheless, they are responsible. Nonetheless, they are responsible for the cruelties they commit with women, with humanity, and with animals too. Likewise, the display of humaneness will also be taken into account. Likewise, the display of humanness will also be taken into account. I feel so happy to read this. He learned this and learned this. Never more people will say me that no, you must die and not never that. It's wrong. The spirits don't say this. It's marvelous in this word, in this aggressive word. It's a diamond. Read this and hear this is a diamond, because we can have clarity and not be bad if a day we have to murder to defend you. Are persons culpable for the murders they commit in war? Or does God excuse murder in case of legitimate defense? Yes. Only necessity can excuse it. Necessity can excuse it. But if we can save our life trying without trying having to take the life of the aggressor, okay? We will go to that all people. Isn't this right here? We must do so if we can save our life without having to take, okay, other life or life of the aggressor. Only necessity can excuse it. Are persons culpable for the murders they commit in war? To soldiers, to police, to militaries, not if they are coerced through force. Are persons culpable for the murder they commit in war? Not if they are coerced through force. Nonetheless, they are responsible for the cruelties how committed in Nazism, etc. And in other cases where people are tortured. I don't know if this is a word. Let me see the right word. Tortured. When people are tortured in war for sick minds, this is not permis. This is not have permis of God. Never. Are persons culpable? They are if they commit tortures and cruelties, but not if they are coerced through force. Nonetheless, they are responsible for the cruelties they commit. Likewise, their display of humanist, likewise, their display of humanist will also be taken into account. 750. Which is more culpable in God's sight? Parricide or infanticide? Let me see the pronouns. Oh, it's a deep question.
Parricide or infanticide?
No. English pronouns.
Parricide or infanticide?
Parricide or infanticide. Which is more culpable in God's sight? Parricide or infanticide? They are both equally culpable, of course. For all crime is crime. They are both equally culpable, for all crime is crime. Question 751. Why is infanticide as custom condoned by legislation among certain cultures that are already evolved from an intellectual perspective? Let me see in Portuguese. I don't know this. Maybe in those epoch, 1860. But I don't know this. Why is infanticide a custom condemned by legislation among certain cultures? I don't know. I see this in indigenous culture. I see this. I know this. But not intellectual perspective that are already involved from an intellectual perspective. Intellectual development doesn't necessarily imply moral development. Of course, a bad scientist, an evil scientist, is the evil scientist here or in other dimension. A good, carefully scientist, or a good man, ignorant, intellectually sane, is the same in this world and another dimension with much more resource. Why is infanticide as custom condoned by legislation among certain cultures that are already evolved from an intellectual perspective? Intellectual development doesn't necessarily imply moral development. Spirits of superior intelligence may be evil. The spirits of superior intelligence may be evil. They are the ones who have lived many lives without improving themselves. Let me see Portuguese. Here, here in Portuguese is intellectual development doesn't necessarily imply good. The good. The good is moral development. Why? Because are linked with good. The good is the same moral development, because linked with ethic, with good vision from the other, good vision from our neighbor. Then here in English, moral development, here in Portuguese, the good. Intellectual development doesn't necessarily imply the good. The spirits of superior intelligence may be evil. Yes, it's the same here. They are the ones who have lived many lives without improving themselves. They are the ones who have lived many lives without improving themselves. They know he is right. Does the Spirit know? They are the ones who have lived many lives without improving themselves. They know. Because God have permission to us choose what we want. Still, we want to be in bed morally. But a day, the water come and clean all. Cruelty, it's the next point. 752. Question. May we link the sentiment of cruelty to the instinct of destruction? Response. Answer. It's the destruction instinct in its worst form, because even though destruction is sometimes necessary, cruelty never is. Cruelty never is. It's always the result of an evil nature. Let me see. I had a way to use my tendency to evil to get this and use the force to don't make bad. It's this way because when we have notion of evil and good, we can choose better. And if we left evil take us through the life, only bad things we will catch for our life, not for other life, for our life only. Then, if we say this, we must be intelligent to use this for our life, if we are intelligent, of course. Use the extraction inside us to construction. Destruction, it's good to destruction. The instincts, the bad instincts. And when we have this clear in mind, we can make this. Again, about cruelty. I will read here. Response of may we link the sentiment of cruelty to the instinct of destruction. Wait a moment, my cellular battery is so low. And I will read this, and tomorrow I will read the rest. Okay, I will stop because it's so long, this video, but so interesting for me. I love it. Make this. May we link the sentiment of cruelty of the instinct of destruction. It is the destruction instinct in its worst form, because even though destruction is sometimes necessary, cruelty never is. It's always the result of an evil nature. 753. Why is cruelty the dominant characteristic of primitive peoples? Among primitive peoples, as you call them, matter dominates spirit. They abandon themselves to their animal instincts, and since they don't have any other needs beyond those of the body, they care only about their own self-preservation. This is what usually makes them cruel. Moreover, peoples of imperfect development are under the domination of equally imperfect spirits. These imperfect spirits remain sympathetic to them until more highly advanced peoples come to destroy or weaken their influence. 754. Doesn't cruelty result from an absence of moral sense? You may say that the moral sense is not developed, but don't say that is it absent, since it exists in principle, is in all human beings. This moral sense is what later transforms them into good and human beings. It exists in the primitive like the onset of the aroma in the bud of the flower that has not yet opened. Note from Kardec. All faculties exist in humans in a rudimentary or latent state and develop according to how favorable the circumstances are. The excessive development of some impedes or neutralizes that of others. The overexcitement of the material instincts stifles, so to speak, the moral sense, as moral development gradually weakens the purely animal faculties. Seventh, 5. I will end questions of this point, and tomorrow I will finish this chapter. Seven, 5. Why is it that in the most advanced civilizations there are individuals who are at times as cruel as barbarians? For the same reason that on a tree loaded with good fruit there is always some that is rotten. Such individuals have, if you wish, only the appearance of civility, like wolves in sheep's clothing. Low order, very backward spirits may incarnate among advanced people in the hope of their own progress. However, if the trio is too difficult, their barbaric nature prevails. 7, 5, 6. Will the society of moral individuals someday be purged of evil doors? Humankind is evolving. Those who are dominated by the instinct of evil and who are out of place among moral people will disappear little by little, like bad grain being separated from the good when threshed, but they will be born again in other envelopes. Then, with more experience, they will comprehend good and evil better. You have an example in the plants and animals that you have learned how to perfect by developing new qualities in them. Very well, it's only after many generations that perfection becomes complete. This is a picture of the different existence of human beings. And I will stop here. I hope you have good the knowledge. For me was spectacular hair reading, hair learning, and hair and learning too. Because in the first time I read this, I don't can read with a deep that I have today in my life. This was a difference. Read two books in past and here, you will feel totally the difference, because we are changing inside. And this way we can see this reading a same book that we read in 40 years ago and read again now. I hope you have a nice weekend, and thank you for make me again talk about this fantastic knowledge of Kardec and the Book of Spirits. Until the next.